So what is going on, guys? It is your boy Gaijin Gaming, and let's just get right into it. Today I wanted to talk about a lot of the new Soviet vehicles that appear to be added in the new update, likely 1.79. Now, these were translated off a Russian stream, and it's on a Reddit page, and it's just got a bunch of dot points. And so these have been translated directly from Russian, so some of the translations are a bit dodgy, but a lot of them are pretty straightforward. And the main one that caught my eye the most wasn't the helicopters or wasn't some of the VR changes or anything like that. It was mainly this, is that the Soviets are getting a bunch of tanks that, well, at least to me, I find them very interesting. So, the first one that I'd like to discuss would be the T-62M. So the T-62 was originally introduced in 1960, however this variant of the vehicle, the T-62M, was introduced in 1983 as an extensive modification of the original T-62 models. Now, as you can see from the image here, it features an applique armor package on the front of the turret, and the whole idea behind this is applique armor is kind of like spaced armor designed to defeat heat effects and other shape-charged projectiles. It doesn't really work in the same way as explosive reactive armor or anything like that. Additionally, the vehicle gets extra belly armor or something like that, which many people would believe that this would increase the weight of the vehicle. However, they decided to upgrade the engine to a 620 horsepower, diesel engine, and that allows the vehicle to have, high mobility compared to the previous T-62. Additionally, the vehicle can fire 9M117 Bastion ATGMs through the gun barrel. So, in-game, because this tank already has access to APFS-DS ammunition, the ATGMs probably won't be as useful, except maybe as standoff weapons at longer ranges, but I'm not sure. You'd have to see what happens. Well, at least it gets the capability anyway. And also, according to this, it just gets better fire control systems, so whether the game will actually reflect that with having a better stabilizer or not, I'm not too sure. But yeah, so these will probably be obviously a great improvement over the T-62, so you couldn't just, you can't just fit this as a modification to the T-62, you'd have to have it as a separate vehicle. Like, this vehicle has, like, extra shock absorbers and, like, the tracks off a T-72 apparently, so things like that is why, you couldn't really just put this in as a modification, so, but no, it's interesting to see. I can probably see this thing being like a 9.0, or maybe a 9.3. I'm not entirely sure, truth be told, because I've never played the T-62 before. I've fought a few, but they don't seem to be as effective, at least against me in the Magach, as I thought they would be, so yeah. So the next one I just wanted to go briefly over is the T-64BV. Now, we'd already seen leaked photos of the T-64BV, like, it was supposed to be coming into the game in 1.77, however, instead we just got the normal T-64B. Now, for those of you who don't know what a T-64BV is, well, it was the thumbnail of the video, but this is the T-64 that is covered in Contact 1 reactive armor. Now, the T-64B already has some pretty strong armor in the game, so covering that in additional reactive armor is kind of heavy. Additionally, it just has some extra smoke grenade launchers on the left of the turret, apparently, but, if they've actually modelled that in the game or not, I'm not entirely sure. However, apparently, according to the Reddit post, this will just be added as a modification to the vehicle. Like I said, this is just adding ERA blocks and an extra smoke grenade launcher to the vehicle. This would not drastically increase its combat effectiveness, so other than that, it's just going to be a normal T-64B, so yeah, that'll be pretty cool to see anyway. So the next tank that they've announced actually comes straight from World of Tanks. Well, it was actually not a paper tank. They built like 6 prototypes of this vehicle, but yeah, the IS-7 has been announced. It just simply states that the vehicle will be introduced sometime this year into the game, but it will be introduced. Now, to me this is interesting because I always thought a game like War Thunder could make the IS-7 work. The vehicle will feel more overpowered than the IS-6 even is, but it would work. So this is a tank with a 130mm gun that has a semi-auto, it's like got an assisted auto-loading function on it. So it's got a loader, I'm pretty sure, but it's like an assisted loader thing that enables the gun to actually, well, a person to actually handle the shells going into the breach. And the tank is decently fast, as with most Soviet heavy tanks, but The worst part about it is the thing is angled like a motherfucker. You cannot penetrate this thing with conventional ammunition. However, I think that if you were to put this thing at an effective BR bracket, it wouldn't be too bad. But fingers crossed, because we all remember what the IS-6 was like. This thing could be worse. I don't know. I don't really have an opinion on the vehicle until it comes out and is actually implemented into the game. It could be trash. We don't know. It's definitely not going to be trash, of course, but you know what I'm saying. We'll see what happens. So, last but not least, definitely not least, the T-80 has been announced for War Thunder. There's no models or anything like that. They've just said that they have the model ready, and it will likely be introduced into the game. Now, for those of you who have no idea what the T-80 is, or have some idea but don't really know too much about the tank, the short version is, after World War II, the Soviet Army was experimenting with like gas turbine engines, like turbine engines that could run on any fuel, basically. Sound familiar? Well, that's what the Abrams has, so that's what we're getting at. One of the companies took a T-64 hull and stuck a turbine engine into it, did some prototype tests and stuff like that, and they came up with the T-80 man battle tank, which entered service in 1976, I believe. Now, many people will see the tank, oh no, a T-80, and they'll be like, well, you know, will the capabilities be better than a T-64B or a BV? And, well, honestly that depends, because overall, what you're getting with this vehicle is its capabilities. Like, the gun is the same as the T-64. It's the same 2A46 125mm smoothbore gun. You probably have access to slightly better ammunition in the T-80. You'll have access to ATGMs and stuff like that. But the main thing is the armor and the mobility. So the armor will probably be very similar, if not slightly better, than the T-64. It's got composites on the upper plate and the turret. However, the thing that I believe would, you know, sort of change the dynamic would be the engine power. You see, the T-80 has a 1,000 horsepower gas turbine engine, and this will allow it to motor around very quickly in a similar fashion that the Abrams does. So, at least to me, I believe that that would be the sort of defining factor, is that you'd have a Soviet tank that would be similar in capability to, you know, the T-64, but would just be a lot faster. You know, no more of this, you know, stupid reverse speed on the T-64 and stuff like that. But yeah, apparently the autoloader can take between, you know, 7.1 and 19 seconds to reload the weapon. So I'm pretty sure Gaijin would just choose the 7.1 second reload on the vehicle. And, you know, other than that, I'm pretty sure that's most of the points about the T-80, other than that it was hideously expensive to operate. So yeah, well, I probably wouldn't make more in-depth videos about these vehicles until later on when I actually had them and I could talk about their full history, the companies that made them, the men who designed them, where they were used in combat and things like that. Like the T-80 was used in Chechnya. But this is just a short summary and just a little bit of an overview, just explaining to people that yes, there are new Russian vehicles coming into the game. Many people might also wonder how the Abrams will deal with this, and yeah, honestly, I'm pretty sure the Abrams can still just laugh at these tanks, because remember, the Abrams doesn't even have its DU round yet, and the later version of the Abrams has a 120mm gun that can only fire D. Like, the later versions of the Abrams, their APFSDS rounds are all DU. There is no exception, so other than that, it has been your boy Gaijin Gaming, and I hope to catch you guys next time. Just make sure to leave a like and subscribe if you did like the content, or dislike if you're an absolute prick. Yeah.